Welcome to another edition of Pinellas Courtside Connection, where we bring you inside the Pinellas County high school basketball scene with a look back at recent scores, countywide top 10 rankings, and a look ahead to the upcoming games to watch. It's always an exciting time of year as we celebrate Christmas and take time to reconnect with family and friends. And for many, basketball helps us do just that. Unfortunately, my co-host LaQuana Jones is battling a cold and unable to join us tonight. We certainly wish her a speedy recovery and look forward to her return. But don't worry, later in the show, we will be joined by a special guest, St. Pete High junior Ella Abernethy. Certainly looking forward to catching up with Ella, who some of you very well may know from previous shows. We've talked a lot about Ella being one of the most improved players in the county. Ella's been at St. Pete High. She's now in her junior year, leading the team in scoring. We look forward to catching up with Ella later in the show. With all that said, though, you're stuck with me for the next little bit as we unpack the latest results and scenes and top 10 rankings across Pinellas County. So let's take a dive right into the top 10 girls county rankings right here in Pinellas County. No surprise, Lakewood checks in, staying at number 1 this week. In a highly anticipated matchup last week, Lakewood hosted Clearwater and held off the Lady Tornadoes with a 70-51 victory. It was a balanced attack for Lakewood with 5 players scoring 10 or more points. Hard to believe the balanced attack has been a constant for Lakewood all year long. They have 5 players averaging 9 or more points, led by Alani Lovett with 15.4 points per game and Sumaya McIntosh, who has 15.3 points per game. But to no surprise, the staple of Lakewood has been their defense. Lakewood forces their opponents into an average of 23 turnovers a game, leading to easy transition buckets and keeping opponents' offenses in check. This week, Lakewood has a tough challenge. They head out to Wiregrass and Wesley Chapel, where they'll take part in the Tampa Bay Christmas Invitational opening round game against 7A Boca Raton High School. Boca Raton earlier this month played Somerset Prep, a common opponent they have with Lakewood, beating them in overtime. It was one of 2 Lakewood's losses this year, so Lakewood will certainly be tested early and often up at Wiregrass as they head up for the Tampa Bay Christmas Invitational. Checking in number 2, no surprise, staying pat, a common theme that we'll see throughout the rankings this week, Gibbs. No surprise, though, Gibbs last week coming up with a big-time victory over visiting Plant. That's back-to-back wins over Tampa powerhouses for Gibbs. The previous week, beating Academy of Holy Names. Last week, beating Plant in a game that came down to the wire. Really impressed watching the end of that game with Gibbs' ability to keep their composure. I know had a late 5-second defensive call lead to a turnover, giving the ball back to Plant with a tie score. And Gibbs calmly retreats to defense and has the presence to make a wing steal on a wing entry pass from Zakoya Grant, who stole the ball and went coast to coast with an easy lay-in bucket, giving Gibbs a lead with about 20 seconds to go, proving to be the difference. The Plant on the ensuing possession came down, had a inside post look that went in and out, and Gibbs secured the rebound, and not only secured the rebound, but secured the win. Another big-time win for Gibbs last week as they hold pat at number 2. They, too, are heading up to that Tampa Bay Invitational up in Wiregrass, a massive tournament up at Wiregrass Ranch, 8 courts going at a time, 200-plus teams coming into action. Certainly going to be an exciting week up there. They open their tournament play in a different bracket than Lakewood. Not going to see a common opponent there, but they open their play against Ridgeview, a team from South Carolina. So they'll be tested against some new unfamiliar faces. A good test for Gibbs as they certainly prime for a good postseason run in 4A. Checking in at number 3, CCC, the undefeated Marauders. They had two big victories last week. They cruised to a win over Largo in a defensive battle, defensively limiting the Lady Packers' leading scorer, Michaela Pascal. In a game, the final score, it was 39-26. Certainly a stifling defensive effort for the Marauders, holding Largo in check. They later checked in with a convincing win over Indian Rocks. The CCC's defense continues to be a problem for their opponents, causing turnovers, forcing teams out of rhythm. Certainly a factor for the Marauders. Big time week last week for a pair of sophomores, though. It was Sophia Landon versus Largo, checking in with 12 points on 3 threes. Sophia's proven to be a long range shooter for CCC. She adds in 9 rebounds in that win against Largo. And when you think of it, 12 points might not sound like a huge effort, but when your winning team scores 39, 39 rather, 12 points is a pretty good chunk of that. So good shout out to Sophia for a great effort last week. And then against Indian Rocks, Emmy Dalhoff with an absolute stat stuffer of a game and a performance, almost completing a quadruple double. She finished with 13 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, and 7 steals. What a performance from the sophomore Dalhoff. Looking through the remaining of the top 5, Keswick stays at number 4. No games for the Crusaders this week. A couple practices and a resurfacing of the floor as they prepare for the Keswick Suncoast Classic that tips off later on this week. Clearwater checks in, stays at number 5. They fall to 6-3 with a loss to Lakewood, but those 3 losses I think can be very misleading, because if you look in that left-hand column of the top 5, those losses are to Keswick, Gibbs, and Lakewood. So, Lady Tornadoes fans, don't worry. Clearwater's just fine. A young squad led by Pinky Sturdivant and Olivia Williams, who account for nearly 60% of their offense. Clearly a tough matchup as the year goes on. Going through 6 through 10, again, all staying firm at the in the top 10 here. Countryside stays at 7-1. Their next matchup, at least their next scheduled matchup on Max Preps, they'll have a tough matchup against Newman in the River Ridge New Year's tournament. Newman has a pair of posts, and Sophia McCartney and another post that will certainly can really pound the ball inside and really stretch the ball out, with Sydney Martin being able to hit the outside shot for Newman, a team that Keswick's been familiar with because we've faced them the last 2 years in the regionals. So certainly a good matchup. Countryside's guards going against Newman's posts. Palm Harbor at number 7. They had a convincing win last week against Tarpon Springs as they gear up for the Bradenton Christian tournament next week. They have a tough opener, though, going up against Parish Community High School. Just a tough first round draw, but certainly a good test as the year goes on. Calvary checks in, holding firm at number 8. They defeated Osceola and are not scheduled to play until the new year. Then we look at Largo holds at number 9 and Eastlake at number 10. Certainly make an argument with those records. Eastlake could bump up ahead, but it doesn't take too long to look at their results. Eastlake having defeated Largo having defeated Eastlake earlier in the year. Largo gets the edge there, holding out at 9 and Eastlake at 10. Again, the next 5, we've talked about this a little bit. The top 10 in that top tier on the girls' side of Pinellas County holds pretty firm, but you certainly have a lot of younger teams developing in the area. And in no particular order, you have St. Pete knocking on the door. Many can make a case for the Green Devils being in the top 10 this week. Certainly we'll have a chance to prove that and to showcase that next week at the Keswick Suncoast Classic. St. Pete, again, led by Ella Abernethy, who we'll speak to later on in the show. Northside Christian, Coach Travis over there doing a great job building up a program from the bottom up, having a strong middle school program, feeds into the varsity program with the vision of having a JV program in the coming years. Coach Travis continues to do a great job over at Northside. St. Pete Catholic, unbelievable to see St. Pete Catholic's progress and success this year. When they have their leading scorer, Liv Geritano, go down at the start of the year, unfortunately playing in a fall tournament, unable to play for this year. But St. Pete Catholic still finding ways to win games, still finding ways to get W's. I believe they sit at 5-5 right now, and certainly always competitive. And the other 2 teams keep an eye on Bogey, just battling through some injuries, and Indian Rocks, another young squad as they start to rebuild their program over there in Largo. I have to do a shout out. I think we missed this last show. It might have just been a timing thing, but Shout out to Hollins. Hollins last week picked up a big win over Admiral Farragut. Hollins snaps a 31-game losing streak, but does it in fashion as Summer Morgan drops 43 points. And I don't care who you're playing against, what gym you're playing in, to score 43 points in a high school game, quite an accomplishment. Amazing, amazing performance. Well jumped. Well, good job, Summer. I look forward to catching you in action. And then again, I have to give a special shout out to Coach Hobbs over at Seminoles. He continues to do a great job building the program with Coach Page. Uh, Coach Hobbs really has the Warhawks on the world tour. They've been over to Disney to play games in Orlando. They went down to Fort Myers to catch Iowa in action with a game against Bishop Vero against a Fort Myers local squad. And as they head into the Keswick Suncoast Classic next week, Coach Hobbs continues to build the energy, continues to build the enthusiasm, and the Warhawks, if with nothing else, will certainly come at you in numbers. They have a great turnout every game from their athletes, and really doing a good job. They stand at 4-8, but battling. They lost a tight one last week, dropping to Braden River 40-39. Certainly always good to catch up with Coach Hobbs and the Warhawks. So look forward to catching them at the Keswick Suncoast Classic this week. Wow, that's a lot to digest, a lot to take in on the girls' side. Certainly an area where I can chime in a little bit more, having scouted a lot of these teams and prepare as we coach over at Keswick. Again, it's Keswick Suncoast Classic this week, December 28th to 30th. Pinellas County heavy lineup with Clearwater, CCC, St. Pete High, among others in action. Be sure to come out, check out the action there. But all that said, let's take a look at the boys' top 10 rankings. Oh, there we go. We have take a look at the Keswick Suncoast Classic schedule right there. The girls' side in the bracket, you have Canterbury and Clearwater. Bishop Vero from down in Fort Myers playing St. Pete High. That's a tough first round matchup. And then you have Southeast CCC and Seminole Keswick tipping things off. A unique tournament in the sense that it's a boys and girls tournament back to back. You have eight boys teams, 8 girls teams going head to head, 16 teams in all. Certainly a day worth of basketball lineup, and a bit of a unique setup this year. And then we have CCC playing back to back games. The girls playing at 2:30, and the boys tipping off against Tampa Prep at 4 o'clock in a game that is almost certain to be a barn burner. You have a couple out of area teams on the boys' side. You have Berean Christian coming over from West Palm. They face Osceola in the opening round. Jefferson, led by Lazaro Williams, the second leading scorer in the program's history, playing Umatilla, an always talented team, a 4A team that comes in. And then Greater Atlanta Christian, making the trip down from Atlanta. They open up against Keswick in the night session at 8:30, the last tip off of the game, that opening round. But again, 3 full days of basketball, boys action, girls action, all in one gym, one showcase gym. Selfishly speaking, best tournament in town, longest running tournament, I can tell you that, for 40 years of high school basketball in the area. So looking forward to a great week. Hope to get to see some of you guys out in action. Come say hello. We'll be there pretty much from opening tip to last shot of the game. So come out and check it out. Why don't we take a dive in, look at the boys' side, the boys' top 10 rankings. A little bit of a shuffle this week, as it's so hard to project and predict where the boys' results will fall on any given week, because I think we've said this time and time again, anybody can beat anybody on any given night, although the one exception to that has been Gibbs. Gibbs certainly holds strong at number 1, 7-1 record last week with a big win over George Jenkins High School in a convincing fashion, 82-44. Jacob Daniels checked in with 23 points and get this 10 of 12 shooting. What a performance from Jacob, adding 5 assists. You have both Jacob Daniels and O'Neal Delancey averaging 17 points a game for Gibbs. And again, Gibbs is poised for a run at the state title. I know there's some tough challenges that lie ahead in their classification, but they'll do a good job of just getting tested, just getting ready for that with their next matchups. They play in the Sun Bash tournament, great tournament put on by Jake Perper and Hoop Vibe, hosted over at Northside this year at games again December 28th to 30th. Lots of area basketball the next couple of days. Sun Bash Gibbs faces Coral Glades, St. Xavier from Kentucky, and Blake, a tough team with Joe Filan leading the way in the middle for Blake. 3 powerhouse matchups for Gibbs. Good way to get tested and prepared for a state title run, hopefully for the Gibbs Gladiators. They hold pat at number 1, and certainly no surprise. Seminole holds pat at number 2. They have, not sure if they have a Christmas tournament, if they're playing down in River Ridge, where they're next lined up. They haven't had a game since. Always a difficult time of year with exams and balancing the holidays and the breaks and who goes where. But Seminole holds pat at number 2. Coach Walker and the Warhawks sit pat at 6-3. St. Pete and Eastlake checking in at 3-4 respectively. Both teams again playing over at Sunbash at Northside. So we have, of the top 5 teams in the county, all playing over in Sunbash. Boca Ciega checks in at number 5 this week, moving up 1 spot after beating Lakewood in a tough 71-67 matchup. Boca Ciega, led by head coach Kaysen, formerly of Canterbury, really has the Pirates ramping up, ready to go. Jordan Naylor forcing the guard. You have 2 lefty guards, actually, Caleb Oriole and Jordan Naylor running the show for Boca Ciega. Always a tough opponent. Look forward to seeing how their season progresses. Another mover this week, Lakeside Christian moves up to number 6. Lakeside Christian's a steady climb for the Lions. They've started right outside the top 10 and have been moving up ever since. 7 straight wins for Coach Johnson and the Lions. Had a great chance to catch up with him earlier today, and just talking about the balance that their team has. I mean, they've won 7 straight. They have 4 or 5 guys contributing 5+ rebounds a game. Obviously, they have Najon Harris, the leading scorer in the county, leading the way for them, and only an 8th grader, but clearly one of the best players in the county. So Lakeside Christian checks in at 6. Largo, number 7, moving in from outside the top 10 last week, but a big win over Clearwater as Nick Garrison led the Packers with 17 points, including 8 in the 4th quarter. Cody Kepler added 13 in that game, including a pair of 3s in the 4th quarter, leading Largo with a 19-point 4th quarter, which held on to the victory in a 56-51 win over Clearwater. Largo jumps into the top 10 at number 7, moving up ahead of Clearwater. It only seemed right to put the Packers ahead of Clearwater in the rankings, given that they beat them head-to-head. Clearwater's at number 8, dropping slightly outside of the top 5, but holding firm in the top 10. Again, a couple big matchups coming up this week as they head to the Ram Jam Holiday Classic at Riverview High School in Sarasota. Clearwater checks in at number 8, and a special shout out for Coach Foote, because I don't know if there's a better coach as far as providing updates for games and results and how their guys did than Coach Foote, and certainly appreciate that, posting those results, win or loss, giving as much detail as possible. So shout out to Clearwater for that. And then rounding out the top 10, you have Northeast at number 9 and Calvary at number 10. Calvary holding on to that last spot in the top 10. You have CCC knocking on the door, but Calvary owns the edge in that head-to-head as Calvary beat CCC earlier in the year. Certainly it'll be a tough top 10 to hold on to. It will be all these spots are up for grabs any given night. Anybody can be anybody, which makes getting out to games and supporting these teams that much more exciting. So that's our top 10 for this week on the boys' side and the girls' side. Lots of changes ahead, lots of games ahead with all these Christmas tournaments and everything else. But now, enough about hearing me speak. We have a chance to check in with our special guest, Ella Abernethy. Just as a brief intro, Ella's a junior at St. Pete High. She currently leads her team in scoring, averaging 14.7 points per game. But even more impressive, posted an unweighted GPA of 3.97. That almost sounds like my points per game when I played, Ella. That's amazing when you think about that and doing that in the IB program. So not only performing on the court but off the court, an amazing effort there. Ella's coming off a 30-point performance against Osceola. Always great to get to those big games underneath the belt. And I think one thing that stands out most about Ella, for those that might not know her, is Ella's relentless work ethic. And Ella's always out on the court trying to improve her game. And as I've said before, and I'll say it again, probably one of the most improved players in the county. So welcome to the show, Ella. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so just to get started, just tell us a little bit about yourself and introduce Ella Abernethy to the viewing audience.
Hi, so I'm a 2025 guard. I play for St. Pete High School, and my AAU team is Duval Elite, Southwest Florida. My head coach for AAU and my trainer is Coach David Gallman, and my coach for St. Pete is Coach Sammy Squires.
Awesome. How did you first get into playing basketball?
First, I was in third grade around that time, and I'd played basketball like in the driveway before with my friends. I had two friends, specifically one who lived across the street from me and one who lived down the street from me. And I had played like a season at like my local YMCA. And when I heard that my friend down the street, his mom had played D1 at, I think, Indiana and Miami. And I played with him and we went to school together. And then it was kind of just like from then, like we were just playing like almost every single day, like out in the backyard, like with a couple of kids or whoever. I mean, it was just like neighborhood basketball, really.
Lots of one-on-one matchups and bragging rights for who was the best.
Yes, yeah.
That's awesome. As a player, what would you say are your greatest strengths?
Definitely my work ethic, which translates a lot to defense. Like I pride myself on defense a lot. You can go and watch my film or whatever. Like I'm picking up 3/4 court. Like I'm there and I'm playing defense and I'm gonna make you work for it. Like no matter what.
No, for sure. And I'll just brag on you for a little bit because I know we had a chance to play over with Keswick in summer league a few times this summer. Ella instantly makes her teammates better, and I think it's a hard skill to translate and really quantify. But I think everybody becomes a better player anytime Ella's on the court, and it was always great having you around, even for summer league, for those few pickup games. Is always good having Ella on your side and a bit of a headache coaching against her. So it's always good to see you out playing. If you were to identify one specific area of your game that you're working on currently, what would that be?
Although the graphic on the screen might not say it, 7 for 8 from 3 last game, I am working on making sure my shot and my outside shot is more consistent game to game. Like I want to elevate my pull up, I want to elevate my outside shot, so I become unguardable in that aspect, in the shooting aspect. That's something I hope that's gonna like really prosper and take me to the next level.
Yeah, it's hard to sell it on off a 7 for 8 performance that you need to work on your shooting. But we all can certainly appreciate that aspect of it.
Yeah.
just to talk on that Osceola game where you had 30 points. Obviously, things were clicking for you. What were some of your, just looking back on it, a memory from that, or just a reflection of that game and what you hope to take away from that?
I mean, I don't know. Like I was just feeling it, I guess. Like it was just one of those games where I was like, I mean, if you're gonna like keep on letting me shoot, like I'll shoot. Like I'll take the pull up 3 if no one's gonna guard me in my face. Like I'll shoot. So It was kind of happening. I was like the second or third time down in like the third or fourth quarter. I was like, I have like a lot of threes, and I hit like 2 or 3 in a row. And I looked over like, what is my points? Like, I don't even know. And she was like, yeah, you hit 30. Like, that's your career high. So I was like, okay, like, I guess I shot a lot. So.
Yeah, shot a lot, but shot effectively, I guess, is the most important part of it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
On a game day, how do you prepare for a game, both physically and mentally?
First thing would be like my eating and my hydration. Like I'm not super crazy where I'm like cutting out all sugar or like I'm counting my calories, but I need to make sure like I have enough protein and especially carbs on game day, and I'm like always staying hydrated. And then like immediately before the game, like I'm doing plyos like 5-10 minutes before I leave, like just like lightweight plyos, and I feel like that helps personally with like my defense and like getting me warmed up before the game, like even before warm-ups. And while I'm doing that mentally, like I'm kind of just like chilling. I'm listening to hip hop, but I'm not listening to like super hardcore hip hop. Like I just want to get like calm down, like calm myself down, and like kind of focus in on the game ahead.
All right. So what's Ella's playlist most recently?
Oh,
Put you on the spot.
Oh, definitely Drake and J. Cole. And I was lucky enough to get tickets for my birthday to their concert coming up in Tampa, but it definitely Drake and J. Cole. And then pretty much anything else from there, like in that same realm, like Kendrick, controversial, but Kanye, Tyler the Creator, Jack Harlow, Mac Miller, like any of that sort of.
That's awesome. And then difference in preparation for a home game versus a road game?
It's the same preparation. I mean, normally for away games, like I have a little bit more of a car ride, so maybe I'll do a little bit more plyos before then because I'll be sitting for longer. But honestly, there's not that much. And on the bus, like I do the plyos before, and while on the bus, I'm still listening to music. So maybe talking with my teammates a little bit more. But
awesome. Speaking of your teammates, how do you think your teammates would describe you if we were to ask them?
I'm still growing as a leadership position. After the departure of Ava Stoller, like it's kind of left a lot. Like I have a lot placed on my shoulders as far as like on the court and off the court. So I probably do come off stern, like to some of them, but I want it. I know that they know that it comes from a place like I want us to win, like as a team, and I want us to like get better, like as a team. So I'm still trying to figure out like how to communicate to like individual teammates and how like they listen or like they communicate like differently. So it's more of a process, but overall, like I think everyone's learning, and especially under the new head coach, like it's kind of just a learning process overall.
No, and then you mentioned it just a second ago there with playing alongside Ava Stoller last year. How has your role changed this year? You know, it's almost a complete flip for you in many regards, I imagine.
Yeah, it went from not getting a lot of touches on the ball from like a night to night, but although I did get to see and I did get to learn under her, like I get a lot more playtime like on the offensive end and the locker room. Like I have a lot more voice in the locker room to be able to speak my mind and be able to like all of us overall to be able to communicate effectively. And if you can see like how much the ball has been moving and like how much like more ideas are coming to light and stuff. Not that it was necessarily a bad thing when Ava was there because she was a great leader on and off the court, but it's just different and there's more space for all of us to contribute.
Yeah, that's awesome, and certainly it's always a great opportunity to play alongside a great player. For you, I'd imagine it's in some regards it's a flip so quickly, going from one year to the next, but at the same time, it's almost the progression you want going from sophomore year to junior year, leading into senior year. So it's a good timing, I guess, for that. As you look ahead, and again, not to discount any upcoming games or anything else, what are some of your goals with basketball, whether it's playing at the next level, and what are you doing to prepare for that?
Definitely collegiate basketball. I really want to play collegiate basketball. I mean, I'll do anything to prepare for it. Like I go to the gym in the mornings, not during season, but any other times. And during season, I'm lifting after games. I'm getting in skill work with my trainer, like anytime I can. And I mean, just working hard, like working obsessively hard to reach that goal and to reach that next level. And I mean, I just came back from a training like an hour and a half ago, and I was training with collegiate level players. So seeing like the difference is like where I have to get to is really important. And that's where like I'm trying to get to, like trying to train with them and get to that level.
Yeah, and just talk about a little bit about that. I mean, obviously I know you've worked a lot with Coach G, but just his wide He's such an experienced coach, such a great perspective, such a great ability to teach the game. But having that wide range of competition levels, how much has that helped you?
It's helped me a lot, like
Yeah.
a lot. Like I don't know where I would be without him as far as training, because even though I worked hard before, like I'm not sure like I knew like freshman and sophomore year like what to do in that regards, like what to do as regards as training, and him having like a structure to my workouts and like a structure to how he presents things and how we improve things, and then adding in that level to that other talent, like other players, whoever they are, like that helps me a lot with my growth, and it's helped me a lot with my development like all summer. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I always, again, just knowing, having watched coach and having known him a little bit, it's his ability to teach the game, but also to challenge your thinking with the game is such a big component of it. Not to put you on the spot, but if you had to pick a dream school or somewhere that you would love to be able to go play, where do you think that would be?
ooh, I mean, I'm not a Power Five player, but if I had to choose, I would be under Coach Gino and play at UConn and play with Paige Beckers. That would be the dream.
No, of course. I'm a Big East guy, so I love that's a great answer. I can certainly
Yeah,
appreciate that. UConn is
yeah.
obviously one of the best. And look, I'd be really honest with you with your ability to continue to work hard and do so well in the classroom and to perform so well on the court. Bright future ahead, and look forward to seeing where that path takes you. Um, I, I know we've talked already a bit about Coach G, talking about coaches that have made a big impact on you, but um, what, what do you enjoy most about basketball?
The work, if I'm being honest, and
Mhm.
also like the camaraderie that Coach G brings around and like his workouts and stuff. Like getting to meet new people is super dope. I'm super part of like the practices and tournaments and different teams and stuff, and like getting to grow like with those people is super cool. And you challenge each other to like get better like every single day, and putting in the work with those people is like one of my favorite parts about basketball.
That's awesome. It's always good to challenge yourself, see yourself grow. I know you touched on it a little bit before with UConn and Paige Beckers, and hard to turn that down. But if you were to pick a favorite WNBA player, college player, who would that be?
WNBA player would be Sabrina Ionescu, because
Yeah.
she's going off, and she's pretty much going off in the 3-point show and whatever. And
Yeah.
collegiate level would be Paige Beckers or Caitlin Clark. Like she's dropping. She just had her like 10th 30-point triple double or something like the other night. Like it's crazy.
And I think that we had a chance to see Caitlin Clark play down in Fort Myers, and it was just watching her. There was just a different vibe with her teammates. It wasn't. It
Mhm.
never felt it was about her, but
Yeah.
about the team success, which is just it's cool to see that humble card every once in a while. Um,
hmm
so you said Sabrina, and you mentioned Paige and everything else, and then I have to ask, what sneakers are you wearing?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. I want to pick up a pair of Sabrinas, but I've been the biggest Kyrie
All right.
shoe fan like my entire life. Like I think I'm on my fifth pair of Kyrie sevens. Like
Yeah,
I just reuse the pairs over and over again. And when they were still making them, I would just like I wouldn't even have to like try them on. Like I just ordered them online. Like I already know what I want. Like I want the new pair of Kyries. Like and they fit perfect to my feet like every time.
that's awesome. And even the better part of the Kyrie is that they always seem to be the most affordable, best sneaker out there. So
Yes.
it's really
Yes.
helps the
Yeah.
wallet a little. So if you do get a pair of Sabrinas, are you going to customize them, or are you get the standard?
I'm gonna customize them. It's Christmas is past, but I can probably show you. Like I have the site pulled up. Like I'm customizing. Like like what would be cool. Like whatever. It's like they almost look like a pair of like Kobe's, like a Kobe 6 and like a
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie mixed together. I'm a little concerned with like the low top, but like I can wear ankle braces. Like they're super dope.
That's awesome. All right, so I'm going to hold you to that. I know this week you got the Keswick Suncoast Classic. We're going to
Mhm.
see you over at the Keswick gym. I want to sneak a peek at the customized Ella Inescus.
Yes.
See what you got there going. I have a couple. I have a couple versions of on my Nike app as well. So we can cross collaborate and come up with a Pinellas County shoe.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. I know there's so much more to just the games and than the points and the scoring average, and we certainly appreciate you willing to share your journey on social media and just all those workouts and everything else. And thankfully had the pleasure of being able to coach you through a couple summer league games, but even just being able to watch you play and continue to grow and develop. And I have joked with your mom at hope that you score 30 against us, and we just happen to score 2 more points than you on that night. So good luck the rest of the year. We look forward to seeing you in action next week, this coming week over at Keswick, and good luck the rest of the season.
All right, thank you, Coach. Thank you so much for having me.
Great having you, Ella. Good catching up.
Yep.
So, a special guest with Pinellas County Connection. That was Ella Abernethy from St. Pete High, junior. Once again, averaging 14.7 points a game, leading the way, elevating her play, elevating her teammates' play. Certainly a great student, all-around student athlete, performing in the classroom and outside. Look forward to seeing Ella as the season goes. As we talk a little bit about the ability to excel in many areas in the basketball court. We posted out a little bit of the glue awards, if you will, looking for people that are great teammates, great leaders, excel on and off the court, have unwavering commitments to their team. And we're going to give our first glue awards out for this year for this Pinellas County Connection. Again, that's being a great teammate, showing great leadership, unwavering commitment, and excelling on and off the court. I think the staple of every good team has that glue award. I've talked to a few coaches who have openly admitted to, hey, you know what, I can't nominate anybody right now because we're still trying to find who that is. And once we do, it will make a big difference for our team. So again, just an opportunity for us to recognize some other student athletes from around the county. On the girls' side this week, Coach Hobbs over Seminole. It's Molly Follett. Hopefully I get the name right, Molly. Molly Follett, a junior, somehow excelling in the classroom while taking 6 AP classes, just being an ultimate teammate, helping out the Warhawks as they continue to build their program over there, bringing the energy and making a difference for Seminole. Again, not always in the stat sheet. Doesn't those factors and being a great teammate shows up in so many other ways. Any possession, only one person can score, but everybody can be a great teammate, whether you're on the court or off the court. So shout out to Molly and the Warhawks. And thank you, Coach Hobbs, for recognizing Molly's contributions as the Warhawks continue to do a great job over there. And then on the boys' side, we have Blaze Shibangu. Hopefully I get the name right, Blaze. Awesome catching up with Coach Johnson this afternoon and just talking about the balance and the collective effort, building the pieces around Najon Harris, the leading scorer in Pinellas County, only as an 8th grader, but you have juniors like Blaze who are really making a contribution. Blaze finding ways to contribute on the court, averaging 5.8 points a game, 5.9 rebounds a game, and nearly 3 assists a game. So a bit of a stat sheet stuffer himself on the court, but all while doing that, getting straight A's through class. So a shout out to Blaze for performance, not only on the court, but off the court in the classroom. And to Molly, again, equally as well, as being the first recipients of the Glue Award on this week's show. So shout out to them for their contributions and helping their teams ultimately be better. Great job to those guys. As we look ahead, it's an exciting time of year. It's hard to grasp how many games are going to be played in the next 2 weeks. Again, we've talked a lot about the Keswick Suncoast Classic and the local flavor that you have over there. Indian Rock Showcase is in Largo over at Indian Rocks, again, on December 28th, 29th, 30th. Another slew of local games. You have Sickles, Lakeside, St. Pete Catholic, Indian Rocks, Hollins, and Gulf Coast Heat all in the mix over there. Really a great opportunity to catch local action. Palm Harbor on the girls' side, traveling down to Bradenton Christians, the Chick-fil-A Classic If you've ever been down to their arena, they have the Chick-fil-A skybox that overlooks the football field and the basketball field. A great seat in the house to catch that. Palm Harbor getting a good test early against Parish Community High School, and then a potential matchup between Palmetto and Bradenton Christian. Again, great test for Palm Harbor early in the season as they prepare for a district run. The Sun Bash tournament, probably one of the premier tournaments in the country. An unbelievable lineup. You could catch boys action. You have St. Pete, Eastlake, Bogey, Northside, teams coming in from North Carolina and Green Level. North Tampa Christian, a team that has probably 3 or 4 D1 prospects, led by Tony Bryant, 6'10" forward, who certainly leads the way for Tampa Christian. Countryside, St. Xavier from out of Kentucky, Lake Worth, Gibbs in action. Again, I could go down the list. It's a lineup that you don't want to miss. Check out the Hoop Vibe for all their latest updates. Jake Purper doing an awesome job. Always has been. It's the 7th year of the tournament as it continues to grow. The tournament's been hosted around Tampa, Miami, Orlando. The Sun Bash just continues to grow and provides a great opportunity to catch games in action. And then again, up in Wiregrass, again, we talked about it earlier, but Lakewood and Gibbs on the girls' side, both in action up there in Wiregrass. And Lakewood, certainly with a tough path, some good early tests, possible matchup against Seffner Christian in the second round. Otherwise, it's Leslie County from Kentucky. Those Kentucky teams, if not traditionally, Kentucky teams come down and they're a group full of seniors and juniors that just simply move the basketball, bounce pass, backdoor layup, and next thing you know, they're getting back in defense. You got to try and figure out what to do. They always do a great job, always a great challenge. We'll be looking forward to see how Lakewood and Gibbs do out of county with some big matchups. Again, those are just some of the tournaments that are coming up. An exciting lineup, an unbelievable opportunity for teams to grow, develop, and really build that identity. We've had about a third of the season is in the books now. Hard to believe, but you now start to see teams build their identity. I recognize who fits what role best, and really start to develop in the teams that will make runs at district titles and possibly state regionals, and hopefully state Final Four runs for the Pinellas County's teams as the season goes on. Awesome opportunity tonight to catch up with Ella Abernethy. We look forward to the return of Laquana Jones next week hopefully next week as she gets better. Just battling a cold. It's that time of year. Certainties. Christmas comes, New Year's comes, and colds happen in between. It's a great time of year, though. Encourage everyone, get out, support local high school basketball, catch the tournament. If you see one of us out, stop by, come say hello. We'd love to hear your thoughts, feedback, and chime in. Be sure to follow on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever it may be. Absolutely K-Fish is my account. Again, we have so many contributions to the show to make this happen. Special shout out to Totem Pole Nation for hosting tonight's show on StreamYard. We look forward to seeing everybody. We look forward to the return for next week's edition. But again, thank you for Ella Abernethy for joining. We look forward to seeing everyone next week. Take care, everyone.